Hello everyone, I'm Quack. This is Haiku the robot. I'm so excited to show off the game of the month for Fatales this and next month. I am joined here on the mic by Alice and 8-Bit.
Hello, welcome.
And yeah, we're gonna kick it off right away here. So time is going to start as soon as Haiku drops down onto his proper starting platform here. So there are going to be 5 wire snaps, and when the last one snaps, that's going to be time. While we get through this little intro cutscene, I'll say that this is all bosses and skills, obscure information, which means we're going to be fighting all of the major bosses in the game, and then ending with the boss rush, because there's one special boss at the top of it that is legally distinct. And so we'll be seeing most of the bosses twice and a couple of special ones. But here is our time going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so this is Haiku, and we are going to start off by doing a very precise little jump here to see if we can get this. Oof, we missed it.
Nah, we're going to start. We've got a couple of bosses to collect. Right in the first area. There are 2 in particular, but first I'm going to do a particular skip here. That is a trick called a buffered landing jump, or a BLJ for short. We named it that on purpose, but basically this game gives you additional frames when you are walking off of a ledge. That's coyote frames. They're common to many platformers, but this game is so generous that allows you to get them even as you land from a jump. So anytime you see these sort of double impacts from underneath Haiku, it means I am going for that buffered landing jump to get coyote frames vertically. And with that, we're on to our first boss, the Tired Mother.
Yep, this boss is pretty simple. Just sending out a couple ads, and we're just going to keep up slashing. There's really not much to this fight. But it's a nice little starting fight. We actually had to do that little skip involving some BLJs and an enemy pogo to get here. Otherwise, we're supposed to get here a little bit later, but it's still one of the first bosses most people do in their casual playthroughs. And yeah, just as it goes on, you just get more and more tires being thrown at you. And then she's defeated. Then we're going to go over here and grab a nice little capsule fragment for some safety.
Yeah, capsule fragments are health upgrades in this game. The boss rush is 17 bosses in a row, and sort of quietly expects you to be doing it with full or close to full upgrades. My upgrades are going to be 1 chip, which is our equipables in this game, 1 health upgrade, and that's basically it. I guess nominally there is a second chip we pick up in this run, but it's not particularly combat useful. So very, very limited information as I do 1 more BLJ here up to this arena. This is Garbage Magnet. There's actually an unfortunate glitch that can happen in this fight, so I'm going to focus in real quick.
Yeah, this fight's really not too bad. Just gotta go back and forth and try to knock some things down. Phase 2 is where things get a bit trickier. We're gonna see what happens there. There's gonna be some large pillars. Usually we actually have another chip to do a little bit more damage here, so the timing and the length of it might go a little bit longer than we're used to. But yeah, it's pretty simple. Just get some pogos, get some hits in.
Nah, very clean fight there. And it's important to note that bosses in this game will only die or phase shift once their attack call has fully finished. So some bosses have very, very long attacks that we want to avoid because they cannot be killed until after the full attack completes. So with that, I'm going to take an intentional death over here because we're going to warp back to our first save point to grab our first chip of the run.
Yeah, there's a few different routes that you can do here. One is one where you get to stack a bunch of iframes and do movement around here, and you just would go through a completely alternate area. This is more of the any percent routing. Both are pretty good. I think it's only a little bit slower to go this way.
Yeah,
and that's
just a handful
edge,
of seconds.
Which is going to be our big combat charm. It's a 1 in 10-ish
Yes, so the tooltip for this chip, Infinity Edge, that I've just picked up, informs you that it gives you about a 10% chance to crit. But if you look in the game code, you will find that 10% in Haiku is legally defined as 1 in 8. Which I know Fire Emblem happened not too long ago at this Fatales. I know the crits in that game operate on a similar principle of kindness.
And yeah, that will just be a huge increase to our just overall damage. Some fights require certain phase shifts at certain damage thresholds, so getting enough crits in will be very important. But sometimes you just don't get them. That's just the luck of crits.
Haiku is a notably high variance run in the early game, especially all bosses, because we fight so many more things with our Infinity Edge both early on and later in the run. Gotta be careful, because this enemy actually has hitboxes now. Something else worth mentioning is that I'm playing on Obscure Information. That's the second half of this category name. There are two broad categories in Haiku, base game and Obscure Information. A number of things were changed in between those two categories, like in between those two patches. Notably, the boss rush was added, which is why I'm running on this patch right now. But also a number of things were changed in terms of the speedrun, some positive and some negative. But one universal negative is this boss, Car Battery, who any percent actually does a trick to skip because the runners do not like this boss very much.
Yeah, it's a pretty RNG heavy boss. We're gonna see if they do anything. Just hopping around for phase 2. Oh, there we go. Got some orbs. Everyone loves orbs.
And this attack is the bad one. Car Battery is fully invincible for this attack. And so, of course, he's going to chain it into itself.
Yeah, there's a few different attacks in this second phase, and the ones we want, orbs are okay. The one we really want is those one where they will electrify the floor and we can just pogo on them. But finished up with that fight.
Yeah, fine Car Battery.
Yeah, so now we're making our way over to Pinions.
Yeah. Something we'll note about the scrap in this game, that's my currency in the top right corner there. Scrap is going to be used to pay for a couple of upgrades in this run, but most notably, scrap is also Haiku's healing resource. It takes 3 wrench cranks and 3 scrap per crank, so a total of 9 scrap to heal 1 damage. Because this run takes a lot of intentional deaths, which cost you about half of your scrap, finding opportunities to safely heal, and safely both in terms of the run and in terms of economically, can be a little bit few and far between. In particular, this segment of the run, we're walking a long, long time in between save stations. So having just a little bit of extra scrap here so that I can heal is a nice marathon consideration.
Yeah, and actually one interesting thing is people were thinking about trying to do a scrapless run where you just don't need it at all. But unfortunately, this little clock right there that you need to repair requires exactly 1, and is the sole reason we cannot currently do a scrapless run.
Yeah, with current knowledge, that single scrap is unskippable.
But yeah, now we're on Mischievous Mechanic, who is quite a fun little boss. They're hiding down here. They give us a pretty solid reward, too. And the fight's honestly not too bad. Most people find their way in here when they just, like, go for a jump, get hit by an enemy, and they fall into this pit.
There we go.
Boss is being pretty kind, yeah.
So what Mischievous dropped there was a power cell. Power cells are one of the collectibles in this game. Their only purpose is to be traded in for some money. Notably, there are money that you can keep with you in between deaths. So there is one point in the run where I'm going to need 400 scrap on short notice, and that is what those power cells that I have collected so far are for. right.
All right, this trick's being kind of
We're
rude.
gonna reset that. That's fine.
That's we do have a lot of
extra
extra
scraps
money.
for.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of
So
the
you can
upsides
see-
of going around is that we actually had a bunch of extra money from defeating the boss, whereas normally you would have almost none leaving the first trash compactor boss.
There we go. That's what that movement's supposed to look like. Something else we haven't talked about so far in the run is my heat gauge. Heat gauge is Haiku's basic sort of movement. Get out of here. Haiku's basic sort of movement gauge, I suppose. All of Haiku's base abilities take 1 bar of heat, and when he's overheated, can't use any of them except for healing, which is a little bit of a special case. So generally, a lot of the early game, in particular this run, is trying to figure out where to place your dashes to make the most of the heat you have available. But this is going to be a pretty big movement section. We're just going to do a quick puzzle in Factory Facility here to get to the next boss. If we have any donations or messages from the host, now would be a grand old time.
Well, I'm happy to oblige, and I just want everyone to know we are less than $10,000 away from that A Hat in Time milestone unlock for that bonus game. Less than $10,000 away, and remember, you do not need to select an incentive for that, but you do need to select the incentive for the Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay. We need $3,500, and we are $2,500 away. We have a $5.75 donation from Carrarium, who says $5.75 dono train in honor of haikus. Chat, give us your best haikus during this amazing speedrun. Putting this towards that Ethan cosplay. And once again, please remember, when you are donating towards that Ethan VTuber cosplay, which needs to be met before the start of the Resident Evil Village run with Big Scared. When you're donating, select the little add incentive and add the incentive there. Thank you so much for all your generous donations.
Amazing. Yeah, I fully support. Hit me with your best haikus, chat. I like to think at this point I've seen them all. But this is Buzzsaw, who is no one's favorite boss either. Actually used to be considerably easier because those ceiling saw blades didn't used to exist. And so it used to just be as simple as pogoing this boss to death. But now there's like a full boss to actually have to contend with. And in phase 2, the boss has an invulnerable attack in the ceiling. Yeah, alright.
Yeah, the boss even also gains that leaping attack. That attack was not there initially. Initially, the boss fight was literally just a pogo simulator, and it was kind of great, but kind of just not really a boss fight. So it's definitely a more fun experience to fight it nowadays on this patch, but it is considerably slower than the commonly used any % patch.
Yeah, one of the downsides of Obscure Information Patch, but fortunately we are on our way towards the one of the major upsides of Obscure Information Patch in terms of combat in a little bit here. But with that, we have the body modifier, or as I will refer to it for the rest of the run, Morphball. It's Morphball. We all know it's Morphball. Mr. Morris, the dev of this game, knows it's Morphball. We're chill. But now, having done that, I am going to equip Infinity Edge, and we're going to go for the hardest trick of the run. So the thing about this is that save quits are a bit of a misnomer in this game, because quitouts don't actually save your progress here. But if I were to die while attempting this trick, early grapple, and head back to a save, I would have the permanently halved scrap and not be able to renew that scrap very easily. So I need to save quit if I bail out of this trick. And so if I do have to save quit, I'm going to be going for it for 3 save quits, and anyone I miss, I'm giving $20 to Malala Fund.
Yeah, this is a pretty hard skip. The first part's not too bad, but the second part here is where it's
Got
really
it in
tricky.
one.
Oh, first try,
No
easy.
sweat. Easy. All right. So that trick is deceptively difficult. For starters, you need a max height pogo on that helpful battery enemy who I have named Beatrice. Everyone please say thank you, Beatrice, on our way out here. You know, max height pogo into a pretty instantaneous jump, because when Haiku wall jumps right away after grabbing a wall, he actually gets less height off the wall than he normally does, so you avoid bonking on the ceiling there. And then the momentum needed to get across the gap is also quite persnickety. You need to dash, ball, jump, ball with very specific timing, so I'm super elated that I got that in one. We take our grapple and immediately start doing skips with it. There, I got an early control off of the sealants in order to be able to get both of those sealants, the heat sealant and the water sealant, at the same time. And so as soon as I finished the animation for one, Haiku regained control, saves about 10 seconds. And we're going to the most technically a boss of the run. This is Bulb Hive.
Quite a boss.
Legally,
Yeah.
that is a boss.
There is a boss health bar, and in a later point, spoilers, you might be seeing them again. They are a boss, but are they a boss?
Are they a boss? That is just 15 hits to kill. No, like, crits don't matter there. Nothing matters except just hitting the boss exactly 15 times. With that, we're going to take advantage of our new water sealant to go into the water area.
We're going to make our way over here. We're going to be going to get one more ability. We're going to see how these lasers treat us. With the combination of heat and stuff, we usually end up taking some intentional damage tanks, so it's not too bad. And we are going to get a full heal right here.
Yeah, picking up the bombs here does full heal and refresh our heat, as all pickups do, which is super useful to know because it means we can play a little bit reckless through those lasers. Now here I'm going to take a heat dip where I intentionally duck in and out of that hot room in order to refresh my heat gauge, because your heat automatically goes back to 0 when you leave a hot room. On base game, there are actually several rooms that are not hot rooms that still exhibit that behavior, but on Obscure Information, we still get the one in the hot room. And with that, we're on to our first major story boss. So the plot of this game, spoilers, is we need to defeat these 3 creators, install them into our sword, and use that to open the vault at the center of the world to save it from a virus. You know, classic Metroidvania stuff. And this is Electron, the first of them. And Allie, while I focus on this, you want to talk about Bombat?
Oh yeah, so there's a few changes that this game had in patches, and one of the biggest ones is that bombs actually have improved quite a bit for our combat. First of all, they're useful because they give us iframes. We can just iframe through a lot of attacks with that. But previously, they just dealt damage at the same, like, whenever you hit the boss, they take damage from the sword, but if you hit them with a bomb, it's a different, this is no longer waste on their iframes from that, so you can actually do both. And now we're actually going to do a death warp out of here, which just skips an entire cutscene, and sometimes gives us this little animation.
Yeah, so there's the boss tries to play a cutscene there. I'm not going to take that. The boss tries to play a cutscene there where it installs itself into our sword to power us up. But by dying intentionally as soon as the text pops up, you can skip through that cutscene. Unfortunately, sometimes the boss still likes to trap you in the animation like you are being... like you're getting the sword upgraded. So that locks Haiku out of moving, but since the cutscene isn't actually playing, you soft lock. Fortunately, you can still access the menus, so it's just a quick save and quit there.
But that little glitch has
I just want to
cost world
jump in and
records for
say
things.
we have reached $1,000 for that Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay. We have $25 from Lucy2005 who says, "This is my haiku. Ethan VTuber cosplay. Donate to meet this." We are only $2,500 away from meeting that challenge. So let's get it set before the start of the next run.
Oh yeah, piece of cake, chat. I give
You
you
got
what,
this.
like a couple more bosses at most. So I picked up another chip there, gyro accelerator, that just increases my roll speed. There, what I did, and this is critically important, was I equipped it at that save point without actually saving there, so that way when I die at the end of this split, I'll just take the damage there, that's fine. That's a little less fine, but we'll make do. When I die intentionally at the end of this split, what I can do is I won't get trapped in sunken wastes in this dismal little area, but rather keep our bench by where car battery was, which is important. I'm going to be staying there for a majority of the run. This is Blink. Blink is a short-range teleport. I wish that meant there were more glitches in this game featuring the short-range teleport, but it turns out that when you literally intend for your players to be able to go through walls, you make your collision very, very robust. So there's actually only one spot that I'm going to be truly abusing Blink, but it still saves like a minute when you can, so I think that's important. We also picked up a liquid coolant here, which slightly lowers the heat cost of all my abilities, so they're a little bit less than a bar each now. And with that, I'm just going to be doing some movement throughout Sunken Wastes to get to our next boss. So if we got any more donations, let me hear those haikus.
We have $151 from Rye with no comment, but I know for a fact that they really want to see that Ethan Winters VTuber cosplay. And here's a little taste of what you will get when we get that incentive met. Ethan Winters! I tried to do a lady, Dimitrescu impression there, and you'll get more of those when we get that incentive in. We have $25 from Anonymous, who says, Haiku, the robot. This is a haiku about Haiku, the robot.
Very meta, love it.
And just so everyone knows, a haiku does have to have a reference to nature, so when you get all those extra donations in, here's a special one. We sit on the grass. Welcome to Game of the Month. Haiku the robot.
Alright, so this is Big Drill. The names are very, very descriptive in this video game. Big Drill alternates between these like charging phases and an invuln phase where Big Drill sits under the ground and spits up garbage at you or spikes at you. Unclear. The goal is to only see one of these, so hopefully after this attack we'll be able to break all of these segments. Looking okay. He speeds up after each segment that gets broken. Okay, yeah, we should be good. Nice.
There we go. And we get a little bit of money here. Some bosses drop money, some don't. And it's really actually important because like the amount that they drop is randomized within a certain range. So we can't like route too much on it, but we also take a lot of death warps, so we don't carry it too long most of the time.
Yeah, between the intentional deaths and the random amount of scrap that you can get from almost everything in this game, basically anytime we're routing money, we're routing power cells. And so I've already used all of my power cells that I'm going to need in this run to get both heat and water sealant. So pretty much all of the scrap at this point is just sort of icing. I don't mind having all this extra scrap for this next segment of the run, because these garden shears here in Forgotten Ruins are a little bit much. They have a surprising amount of HP, move surprisingly quickly, and home in on you. So there, I just briefly entered a train terminal. You saw we unlocked one train when we repaired the clock in Pinions. There are a couple other trains that I'm going to need for across this run just to... It's a little bit of fast travel. They're a lot more out of the way than in some other games, but they are still a fast travel system, and Haiku's got places to go. Also, shout out to this boss, Rusty Door. It's a joke boss. Pay him no mind. I can bomb through basically all of his hitboxes, and the walls he spawns are legally hitboxes.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple boss that we don't really struggle with. I think at most, it gets people in their casual usually because, you know, you're not expecting a boss. You got through an area with lots of enemies, you put your key in the door, and now you're fighting a boss, and you might get hit once and then you're out, but pretty simple most of the time.
Yep. And yeah, this pathing is, you know, in true Metroidvania fashion, the speedrun pathing is very unlike where I wound up in my casual and how I went about that. Fun little visual glitch there by starting the grapple before the door fully opens. Haiku grapples himself backwards. Just some cute things. And with that, we're in the water ducts.
Quack.
Yep. We're about to be grabbing another coolant.
Yeah, our second and final coolant of the run.
If you actually have all of them, they actually let you... Your healing will actually save your, like, give you heat back because of the way that it just, like, reduces costs to a point where it actually just goes to the negatives, and it's, like, super useful, actually. But we will not be getting that much.
Yeah, so this next boss is called Scuba Heads, but I, myself, alongside Ali, come from another storied Metroidvania community. And if you, like me, have some familiarity with that game, you will likely refer to this boss instead as, of course, the Washer Knights.
Yeah, this boss really isn't too bad. Lots of jumping around. And luckily, the phases are always the same. So it's always going to be one where they do the spin and one where they do the ground pound. And they're just going to keep rotating between the two. And there's not a ton of them. I was actually a little shocked when I first fought this boss, and it was just 3 of them. I was expecting it to go to like 4 or 5, but
I was afraid it was going to go to 4 or 5. Their namesake there strikes fear in the hearts of speedrunners everywhere. But speaking of references, have this totally not Chozo statue as we grab our jump booster, our double jump. Double jump is super useful in that it is like the only major ability that Haiku has that does not take heat. Probably because it needing heat to double jump would feel really bad. And with that, I'm going to start walking up to Bunker. So we've got some time for donations, but also just curious, what's the vibe of the dunking versus not dunking Haiku? Should I expect one result or the other?
You should definitely, by a landslide. How long until?
Probably about 2 minutes.
All right, everyone, you have 2 minutes to get in your donations for Don't Dunk the Robot, because Dunk the Robot is currently at $212. It is boiling right now. Oh, it's probably me, Dunk the Robot, but you never know.
I'm sure there are some people here that just want to see me go fast and don't want to see me dunk. It's a speedrun marathon, right?
It is a speedrun marathon, but it is also about sticking around for as long as possible to benefit Malala Fund. Because did you know Malala Fund is working for a world where every girl can learn and lead? With more than 130 million girls out of school today, Malala Fund partners with education advocates and activists who are breaking down barriers that hold girls back. So, if you want more marathon, if you want more fun stuff, I mean, the whole thing is fun, but if you want extra fun stuff this marathon, please help us reach that Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay. I am looking at Big Scared's custom, they made it themselves. It is their VTuber model dressed as Ethan Winters. Please, if you want to see that, and I know you do, we are less than $2,500 away from that. We need $3,500 for that, and we're just less than $2,500 away from that. So let's get those donations in by the start of that run.
Amazing. All right, I'm gonna. So the blink abuse that I mentioned earlier you're not supposed to be able to blink through these lever gates. They're supposed to be hard-coded to not let you in. But there's a little bit of regular wall here. And can I confirm that we're dunking the robot?
Pardon me, I was taking a sip of my water. I can confirm that we are dunking the robot like a basketball.
All right, eyes closed. Did we get it? No, okay, for real this time. Thank you, everyone who went ahead and donated towards that bid war. I really appreciate it. It is my favorite community meme and also, incidentally, an in-game achievement. 2 points. Unfortunately, our reward for having successfully dunked young Haiku is one of the harder bosses in the game. This is Neutron, and Neutron is where that fact from earlier about how bosses don't die until their attacks are done is super critical. In Phase 2, there's an attack called the Giga Laser that we really don't want to see, so I'm really hopeful.
Getting a lot of crits.
Yeah, this is a pretty good start to the fight.
So yeah, we're just trying to get to
Wow.
a certain damage threshold. It looks like this will be good to skip the laser, but we'll see. Yeah, you need a certain amount of damage to get them to the next phase, but since they're still in the middle of phase 1, you can overkill to get to like a point where they're like taking more damage to reduce their health pool for this one. And yeah, we just got to completely skip a lot of that phase 2.
Yeah, that was a really good Neutron. Thank you, Infinity Edge. So Neutron, there's nothing to die on in the arena, so we actually do have to see this cutscene where Neutron installs itself in our sword. It's the only creator that we will have to sit through this for, but not too bad. Something actually to note about damage scaling. So on Obscure Information patch, as opposed to base game, the install cutscenes actually do upgrade your sword, including if you skip them. Like I was still able to get the sword damage buff for death warping out of Electron. However, all of the story bosses in this game, their health scales, so it's mostly about making it easier to clear out overworld enemies. But it's still nice to have, especially because your bomb damage also scales with your sword, and that you can cheese a little bit of damage that way. But there we just took a trip across the ruined surface. That was another time that I needed the water sealant, because that thunderstorm otherwise does continuous environmental damage, and we go right from needing water sealant to needing heat sealant. This is furnace. And it is also a hot room, much like Burner was, so I am overheated permanently here. But this is just some fun and quirky cycle movement. So if we got, how's that Ethan VTuber coming along? How are the haikus coming along?
We actually just got a jump. We got an extra $100, so we are $2,400 away from that $3,500 incentive for the Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay. And I've got a couple of donations here for you. $20,
Awesome.
$20 from Ala, who says, Quacksilver was my first intro to Haiku during AGDQ. I immediately picked up the game, and I'm so glad I did. Thrilled that I made it here today in time to catch a fantastic game showcased by an amazing runner. And thank you everyone for a wonderful event. And I have a $20 haiku from Oatmeal1 who says, Quack is so gamer. Ali, great commentator. Nature is outside.
Nature sure is outside.
It follows the rules.
So this is Proton. Proton is the most RNG of the creators because of almost all of its phase 2 attacks are annoying in different ways. Hopefully I can kill Proton here. It also, because I'm overheated, I can't use bombs for combat because bombs actually take twice the amount of heat of Blink or Slide or your other basic abilities. But that was pretty clean Proton. We didn't get fire pillars, which I'm grateful for. And once again, we're gonna death warp out of the fight as soon as the text pops up. And yeah, we'll take the soft lock again. That's fine.
So yeah, at this point, we're actually going to go get our first ending of the 2.5 endings that we'd have.
Yeah, so something about the all bosses speedrun of this game is because you have to do all of the bosses. I'm just gonna kill you, you're in my way. Because you have to do all of the bosses, that includes getting both the any percent and true ending endings. So we will actually see game credits twice before finishing the run. But we're gonna take a circuitous path towards any percent here, because I've got 2 more bosses to clean up, starting with this new boss, TV, that got added on Obscure Information patch, and is maybe one of my favorite bosses of the new set. I'll take a heal here.
Yeah, they're not too bad, and if we can get it, I think we can get it before after one more laser beam cycle. I think it's what we're going for. There we go.
Yep. And with that, we're actually going to take a little secret exit back out to the ruined surface here. And now I have a very important question. Chat, are there any fans of indie games in here, like in general? Moment of respect. Shoutouts to the backers of this game. Shoutouts to every indie Metroidvania aficionado. There are so many other games represented in the workings of this game. Truly, it's my favorite genre, and I love seeing all of the cross-pollination there.
So now we're on to Big Brother, who is another fairly simple boss. They're mostly just going to be spitting out some ads and shooting some projectiles at us. But it's a pretty quick fight. There we go.
Big Brother's pretty quick. So I'm just going to be walking back to Virus here, but there are a couple of more of the jumping saw blades that you saw troll me so masterfully earlier in the game. So we're gonna take this nice and slow. Yeah, that flying enemy right there. All right, so we're gonna grab our final train here. This is mostly just serving as a base for us to spawn back at after finishing the game. And we're gonna quickly take a sort of backwards path here, back through Factory Facility, and through a sort of secret tunnel back to the mainframe vault, which I passed by a couple times much earlier in this run. And you can see here the plot is going to happen, but we're actually going to skip this cutscene by leaving the room and coming back. And with that, we get to Virus. Virus is interesting in that Virus was a very hard boss for myself and a lot of other people casually, but this one weird trick that speedrunners do kind of trivializes the fight, which is notably that Virus is actually, unlike every other boss in the game, Virus is completely vulnerable while its interphase scream is happening. So I'm not going to heal once in this fight, and I'm just going to keep piling on damage, and hopefully, between the crits and the bomb, we won't see any more attacks from Virus. Yeah.
GG number 1.
Yeah, fake GG number 1. So we're going to really quick skip some credits, get back into the game, and take a train towards the true ending. But for all of that, it's basically glorified cutscenes. So if we got donations, let them rip.
Oh, I got him, all right. And we are dancing our way to 93K here with a $197 donation from Nebshugs. They say, a Pokemon haiku. Because I wanted to donate during Scarlet Run, but was too late. The robot in the dark pets the Umbreon gently, then goes fast again. And that $197 was, of course, in honor of Umbreon. We also have a $5.75 donation from an Onyx Mouse. A very fancy method of verbalizing movement power-ups, environmental maneuverability amplifications. So there were 2 haikus in there for you for the price of 1.
Amazing.
And remember, everyone, as you are donating, if you want to see that Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay, Big Scared made it themselves. It is amazing looking. Make sure when you are donating, selecting the incentive button on the donate page.
Awesome, and an excellent soul read for the Pokemon fans out there, which I rank myself among your number. Excellent soul read going with Umbreon. Gen 2 evolutions all the way. This is my hot take of the run.
My favorite Pokemon is Beedoo.
Honestly, love it. With that NPC verse, who we've seen a couple times, but has never been critically important, just like to said, hey, by the way, I'm the MacGuffin here to solve the decay of Arcadia, and he's gonna open our way to the Tri-Creator True Ending fight.
So this fight is a mess. There's so much stuff going on. Each of these bosses have their own separate health pools, so we need to try to ideally focus down one, but we also don't want to waste time because only 2 appear on screen at most. Luckily, we had a really good start, and we got one of them out of there. So now it's just these 2. And yeah, it's dodging lasers. They're gonna keep attacking at us. They have a bunch of different attacks they can each do. And they each have something, it's pretty much based off of their original fight, but you're also just fighting all 3 of them at once. It is one of the harder fights, and even True Ending runs will also get the safety extra capsule because they just need the extra health all the time, because this can go really bad.
So this is Giga Laser that we managed to avoid in the actual proper Neutron fight. It's much faster in the Tri-Creator fight, thankfully. But the thing about the Giga Laser is that if you're caught in the main beam of it, it actually is the only attack in the game that deals 2 damage to Haiku. Oh, I'm overheated. That was silly of me.
Luckily, it shouldn't matter too much.
Nah, but this is a pretty clean. We got an excellent ordering on the creators. They used good attacks at opportune moments. Yeah, that's about as nice as I could ask that fight to go. Yep. So this will be our fake GG number 2. We have now gotten the True Ending. Yes, True Ending is basically just do any percent plus come down to the bottom of the map. That's why all bosses is the popular category instead.
Yeah, we actually had a community vote about it at the start, and no category seemed like a good bridge between 100% and any percent, because True Ending wasn't enough, and getting all the skills alone wasn't enough. We found all skills is where that was, and it actually got way more interesting when they gave us this update with the boss rush. And actually, we're heading over there and get the final boss before the boss rush, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. So we have now beaten all of the major overworld bosses in the game. There is one more boss before we get to the actual boss rush, but it is in the secret areas. This was newly added to obscure information. Welcome to Old Arcadia.
Yeah, to get in here, you actually need to have defeated every boss in the game up to this point. So, made sure we did that as we opened up that door. And so yeah, there's a lot of movement around here. It's actually really cool because it also is kind of a check to make sure you've also gotten all the abilities anyway. And there's some interesting movement you can get with double jump and dash, and everything just works together in a very good, comfy way. And there's a nice save point outside of here because we're about to go fight Elegy, who is the final boss that we have not fought yet.
Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah, no, this is Elegy, the Guardian of Old Arcadia. Elegy has some of my favorite aesthetics in this game, full stop. Oh, you're not even doing the sideways attack. Cool. But also some of the most convoluted attack patterns.
Yeah, of the newer bosses, this is... Actually, all the new bosses were really fun. This boss is difficult, but in a fair, fun way. There's one point where it's a bit tricky if you're stuck overheated at a point, but double jump should still be able to get you through it, so. I think we're just a few hits away here.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, and with that, we're going to be getting into the boss rush here in just a second. So that's going to take me up against every single boss we have played in the past, except for Virus, who gets replaced with the secret super boss. That's a new one. I teleported into the reverse of Not too worried about it. We'll automatically full heal when we make it to the boss rush.
Yeah, though there's lots of enemies, there's no real danger here. But yeah, I think this is probably the last chance before boss rush for donations.
Be safe, little robot. All right, we've got $5.75 from non-binary code. $5.75 Dono Train Haiku. Flame Fatale's Summer. Is Haiku non-binary? Cause 575. You know, as opposed to zeros and ones? Should have done a limerick. Anyway, trans rights.
So true. Trans rights.
Besties. How much time do I have?
Well, let me talk a little bit about the boss rush here. So the major conceit of the boss rush, we'll pass back in just a sec. Major conceit of the boss rush is we're getting remixes of the bosses. Generally, all of their attack patterns are faster now. They also all have other gimmicks, such as Tired Mother moving now. But with that, yeah, go ahead and keep them coming.
Okie doke, we have $30 from Anonymous, no comment, but they love haikus. We have $50 from Malharaz, no comment. They also love haikus and little robots named Haiku. And just a reminder, we are less than $10,000 away from that Hat in Time bonus game unlock. We are also less than $2,500 away from that Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay. Big Scared's VTuber model will be wearing a cute little Ethan outfit. It's so cute, please. We have $25 from Pendle Steven, who says, "It's about time I donated to this marathon. Today was my last day off work before a week off. The timing couldn't be better. Maybe next year. I'm too tired to think of a haiku. Anyhow, thanks and good luck."
Alrighty, so yeah, now we're at a point where we're doing all the different bosses. Mischievous here was pretty simple, and now we're on our way to our good old friend car battery.
I would never be hecked by car battery RNG in the boss rush. What is cool about the boss rush is because all of the attacks are so much faster, a lot of the really painful attacks, like Giga Laser, are actually much less bad to get here. I'm just gonna focus on dodging.
And if you all see at the very bottom, we actually have a little progress bar that's going across for how much is left in the boss rush. So if you want to see how far in we are, that will actually show it off for you. But yeah, some of these fights are going to be a lot faster because a lot of these non-story bosses won't be scaled as much to our fully upgraded sword. Whereas I think these story bosses, all the creators, are still going to be a bit more difficult, but should not be a problem at all.
Yeah, story bosses scale perfectly, non-story bosses scale kind of imperfectly, and enemies, which we're no longer really seeing, don't scale at all. I suppose there are still some ads left.
Yeah. And also another thing that's really nice is that the game does actually give us 300 spare parts when we get into the boss rush, so we have money to heal. That is a nice little aspect of this run. Oh, here's our favorite boss.
Legally a boss. Legally a boss, and you can tell it's a boss because it got upgraded and that it randomly has like 5 more HP and that's it. Anyway, here's one of the really scary ones. The Big Drill Couple.
Yeah, we actually really like all the different bosses that start with a scream animation or some kind of animation because we get to heal at that point, and some bosses just kind of just jump into the action. So we ideally will get enough of the ones that are going to be being friendly to us. And you can, yeah, so one fun thing about the big drill couple is that one of them has a bow.
They are a T for T couple. I do make the rules.
They're dressed up for flame fatales.
Exactly. Alright, come on. You're almost there. Okay. Fortunately, the couple big drills do not have the invulnerable attack, so as soon as you finish one off, the fight becomes much less scary.
Yeah. And yeah, again, like, we had, like, that time from, like, the little, like, animation at the start. Very good, because Big Drills is actually probably the hardest early boss in this boss rush.
Yeah, before the final push.
Yeah, there's just so much going on. There's so many things to dodge, and it's just, like, it can be quite a troublesome boss, but we got through that pretty well. Need to try to get some heals in at some point, but it's not a huge issue at the moment yet. So from here, what's the next boss?
You're still not dead, sir? Come on.
Yeah, I thought this was...
Thank you.
There we go.
Creators are great because creators have long enough screens that I can heal to.
Yeah.
Also, Proton is the only boss in the boss rush that has actually made much easier in boss rush mode, because I am not overheated here, like I am in the base fight, so I can teleport and use bomb iframes and all sorts of good stuff.
For some reason, we're still in the lava arena, but there's just no overheat, so it's just like, you know, we take those and we can get those. Luckily, this fight really isn't too bad, even without the other stuff. There's some points where you can take some like damage here and there, but we don't mind taking the damage in the normal fight because we usually just do the death warp out of there. So here we gotta be a little bit more careful, but again, we don't have to worry about like just not being able to like dash out of problematic situations or bomb for iframes.
Yes, we got, this is the funniest ordering in the entire boss rush, because remember early game boss Buzzsaw? What are you doing in the second half? Get down from there. But this is sort of our last breather before I'm gonna need some focus for the last, set. So if we got any, donation pushes, incentive pushes, messages to close this run down with, let us know.
Well, we actually got a $575 donation from Valerie, who says, "Let's go Flame Fatales. Donate for Malala Fund, but also trans rights." That was indeed a haiku. Thank you so much for that generous donation. And final notice, well, I guess it's not final. We are sitting at 84,257 out of that 93,000 milestone incentive for a hat in time. Unlock the bonus game. Let's go.
Yeah, we can get there. So yeah, now we are at the final big drill. Just again, there's some ads. Again, this is a pretty safe fight. Ads do get a bit faster, but another quick one.
Yep. TV, because TV was added in this patch, is actually unchanged except for one attack in Phase 2 that hopefully I'm not gonna see.
Got a nice little visual glitch there. There we go. Yeah, again, this is a really, probably one of the more fun boss fights that was added.
Yeah, it's maybe my favorite boss fight in Haiku these days.
I gotta jump in here for a moment because we got a $1,500 donation from TMS Luft, which means we are very, very, very close to that Resident Evil Village Ethan VTuber cosplay. We need $3,500 and we are sitting at $2,136. I am bad at math. My degree is in communication, so we are only $1,364 away from that Ethan VTuber cosplay from Big Scared. Let's go!
Let's go indeed.
Let's go.
Alright, so the crits have been really nice on this fight again. Just crits for this boss all day long, apparently. So we're gonna see if we can get another good second phase and avoid the Giga Laser. But even if we get the Giga Laser, it will be a lot faster on this one, which will make it not as awful if we do get stuck with it.
Yeah, it's very, very rare to You should be dead there. Okay, now for the scariest part of the run. Remember that joke boss I told you about earlier? Surprise, it's massively difficult now.
For some reason, when you double the doors, they're actually now a force to be reckoned with. And also the spikes on the outside of the door, so you can't be super close the entire time, also doesn't help. Luckily, we just have to try to focus them down one at a time.
Yeah, the worst part about this fight is A, that your momentum can carry you some unfortunate ways, and B, it's that when one door dies, the attack patterns do not change at all, so I can get doors coming at me from behind, or I can get lasers from both sides, and the saw blade attack is always centered.
Yeah, the really rude part is the doors that push you over into the spikes in the door. Not a good time. But yeah, now we're back to Elegy.
Surprisingly clean, so we're just gonna play a nice, clean Elegy.
Yep. After this, we've just got 2 fights left after we get through Elegy.
And I do want to jump in.
Go ahead.
I do want to jump in, and I apologize. I did miss the comment for that $1,500 donation from TMS Lift. Haiku is adorable, and so is chat. Let's meet those incentives. Chat, you're adorable and cute, and I love you.
Chat, you are adorable and cute.
And there goes Elegy. Oh no, that was just phased.
Just a phase shift, yeah.
I was like, wow, that was fast.
It is possible because of how long the tip attack is. I'm gonna heal one here instead of getting early damages. You can go straight from phase 1 to killing Elegy. It's rare, but super possible.
Yep, so now we're back to the Tri-Creator fight. This one obviously quite scary, especially the slate. Ideally, we're gonna be able to get one of them down and then get some heals in between. Yeah, once we can take one out, we should have time to heal. But
I am at 2 HP. We're not going for it. So being the fact that you can die here in 2 means that we're not going to go for the Giga Laser pokes.
The other thing is we're getting kind of rough patterns from them. The big thing is you want to make sure that your patterns are very much the same creator showing up a bunch.
Okay.
Because they all have their own separate health pools, and they will all heal during each of the screams. So you want to make sure that you don't spread the damage out too much because you're wasting a bunch of damage that way.
Yeah, they don't heal back to full, but generally the more you can focus one creator down at a time, the better. So now that we're not under so much duress, Giga Laser is actually a good thing to see. Yeah, because it means we can do that. Oh. Just a little bit of scare for the very end of your run. No worries, never any doubt.
We need the suspense. It's about the drama.
Exactly. I love drama in my fun, cute robot game.
Of course. Well, it's a Metroidvania, so Of course, there has to be some.
I suppose we do like save the world in this. I don't know. I'm a speedrunner. Don't ask me about the plot of these games.
I don't know. We defeat the infection or the darkness or something like that.
Yeah. All right. And so now it's time for the final boss, the true final boss. It is Adam, the secret fourth creator. Adam is just Virus, but with two key differences. Number one, this fight is absolutely gorgeous. Look at these aesthetics. Are you kidding me? Secondly, unlike Virus, Adam is actually invincible during the interface screams. So
we will be using those screams to heal now.
Yeah, so we actually do have to deal with phases 2 and 3 of the fight. But we seem to be getting an okay pattern. Yeah, if you want to keep doing this cone shot, that's fine by me. So time is coming up. Time's going to be on the fade to black after Adam, finishes dying.
All right, GG, and the time will be...
It's going to take a sec. He's got to fall to the ground.
Oh yeah, so it's a longer one than Virus by quite a bit.
Yeah. We did it. We saved the world 3 times. Time.
GG.
Oh, GG. Oh my goodness. I was on the edge of my seat there.
Yeah, that boss rush is so much fun. On my way out, I would just love to say, this is the Fatales Game of the Month. If you are on the fence about speedrunning Metroidvanias, about joining the Fatales Discord, I cannot, in so many words, laud just how cool a group of people it is, how much I want to teach this speedrun, how much I want to run this with other cool people. So I hope if you like what you saw here, you'll swing by the Fatales Court and we can all run. There are so many other categories of Haiku that I obviously could not demonstrate today, but I hope this was a good demonstration of the game and all its potential. And thank you so much to Fatales, to GDQ for letting me put on this show and for letting me be the game guide for Haiku for this month. And thanks, Allie, for hopping on the mic with me, and Peebs for hosting while we did it.
Thank you. Where can people find you, Quack?
I am, you can find me at twitch.tv/QuacksilverPlays, where I play far too many video games. But a lot of indie games, a lot of Metroidvanias. Like this one. I'm going to be doing a lot of this one, in fact, for this month and next month while we do some game guiding things. But all sorts of indie Metroidvanias besides, and generally indie games. I'm really excited for this next year and a half of video games, in case the Silksong backer grave bit didn't cue you in. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me for this hour. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for that amazing Haiku the Robot run, Quacksilver. And chat, let's get some more GGs. And also, if you want to type !FF, you will get more information about joining the Frame Fatales Discord server. We have a $50 donation from Fierce Wolf, who says, "This has been another fantastic week. And boy howdy, is the schedule today stacked. How could I not donate more? Much love to all, and let's get that bonus game and beyond." That's right. Bonus game, A Hat in Time. We're dancing our way to 93K, but guess what? We are less than $10,000 away, and I closed my calculator. We are less than $10,000 away from that. We, of course, need 93,000. And we need $7,143. Thank you all so very much for your very generous donations. And with that, let's get in there and have an interview with our next runner, Big Scared, for Resident Evil Village.